The US is bracing up for the midterm polls. It will be held on November 8, 2022, and there are still several months left for the fate of 435 seats in the US House of Representatives and 34 of 100 seats in the Senate to be decided. But you don't need to wait for the results. They are out already and the Democrats have lost big. Hi and welcome. You're watching TFI Global, the foreign affairs and geopolitical analysis arm of the TFI Media Group. I'm your host Piyush, and in this video I will explain how the midterm polls in the US is giving Democrats sleepless nights. Let's begin. If the US midterm elections to be held later this year were meant to be a judgment call on Joe Biden's performance, then he is heading towards an upsetting verdict. The Democratic Party is in the middle of a wave of retirements. Ahead of the 2022 midterm polls, 29 House Democrats have announced that they won't seek re-election. They are quoting different reasons for not contesting. Representative Jim Cooper blamed redistricting for his retirement decision, like some other House Democrats. California Representative Lucille Roybal-Allard, on the other hand, cited spending more time with my family as the reason for backing out. The most honest opinion, however, came from retiring Representative Cherry Bostos. The Democrat blamed his party colleagues and said that some of them weren't team players. Bostos may have exposed an internal rift within the Democratic Party over the approaching midterm polls. But why exactly are Democrats ducking the upcoming contest? Cami Gallo, a spokeswoman for the Republican Congressional Campaign Committee, seems to have understood the reason. She said, "No one wants to run on Democrats' radical agenda of violent crime, open borders, and skyrocketing prices." For many Democrats wanting to contest the midterm polls later this year, Biden is the biggest burden that they want to distance themselves from. Biden's first year as the US president has turned out to be pathetic. He has failed to control the pandemic and has virtually ended up surrendering America's global leadership role. In fact, his approval ratings have plunged to new lows. According to a latest opinion poll, 56% of Americans disapprove of Biden's performance as the US president. Only 28% Americans want him to run for a re-election in 2024, and only 48% Democrats are backing him for re-election. So, Biden is the single biggest factor that is likely to make Democrat candidates lose the midterm polls. Therefore, two of the three leading Pennsylvania Democrats, Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman, a leading Senate candidate, and party's likely governor nominee, State Attorney General Josh Shapiro, decided to skip Biden's visit to the state. They were invited by Biden for a photo line during his visit, but they cited scheduling conflicts in order to maintain a safe distance. Earlier, Georgia Democrat Stacey Abrams, a leading governor hopeful, too had avoided appearing with Biden. She too had cited a scheduling conflict. Democrats are finding subtle excuses to distance themselves from President Biden. However, Texas Democrat Beto O'Rourke was a lot more blunt. In an astonishing statement to reporters, the Texas Democrat said that he is not interested in receiving any sort of assistance from President Joe Biden nor Vice President Kamala Harris to help in his run for governor post. Distancing themselves from Biden and his pathetic performance won't help the Democrats. Their party had backed him for the top job, and now they cannot dissociate themselves from the 79-year-old man, no matter how hard they try. Meanwhile, Biden himself is making some rather defeatist remarks. Recently, he claimed that the results coming in this November easily could be illegitimate. He also said, "I'm not going to say it's going to be legit." Biden knows that Democrats are going to lose and they will blame him for the poor electoral show. So he is already discrediting the electoral process in advance. The midterm elections are still several months away, but the results are out already, and this isn't good news for the Democrats.